guys, we are just enjoying a nice cozy day here at home. We've got a few chores going on. We had a very busy week this week, a fun week, but a busy week. So we're just taking today to relax and recover. And we also have a busy day tomorrow. Tomorrow is Sunday. So we want to make sure we take the time to refuel and rest today in advance of that. But while we have kind of our relaxing day here, I thought I would go over some book recommendations for you guys. So as you may know, I'm a very big reader. I love reading. It's one of my first loves. And I sat down last night and actually made a list of book recommendations, but there were a lot. So I had to split it up into a few different categories. So I figure over the next couple of months, I'll just periodically hop on here and give some book recommendations. But today I specifically wanted to go over some parenting / motherhood books for you guys. So some of these are good for men or women. Some of these are clearly directed more towards moms, but either way, these are some great books to check out, and I wanted to share them with you guys. So the first one, this is one of the first parenting books I read. Some family friends gifted this to me before I even had Judah. So this was something I was able to read in advance of him getting here. And it's one that I already am returning to, and I know I'll return to throughout my kids' childhood. So this is Parenting by Paul David Tripp, 14 Gospel Principles that can radically change your family. I love this one. It is so practical and it is very, very biblical. You know, I know that there can be some controversy sometimes with just some older school methods. And this is a little bit older book, not super old. It's not like antiquated or anything, but I just really love the traditional views presented in this book. They line up with what I believe. He has biblical principles, again, gospel-centered, and he has the scripture to back it up. So check this one out. Pretty easy read as well. There's a lot that you could take a lot of time on it. I highlighted stuff when I went through, so now I can just go back through and look at the highlights, but it's also one that's pretty easy to get through. All right. Hard is Not the Same Thing as Bad by Abbie. Halberstadt. You may know her as M is for Mama. She also wrote that book. I actually have not read that book. This is her second book, and I adore it. I want to read M is for Mama this year. That's on my to-be read list, and she recently announced that she is working on another book, so I'm excited about that. Abbie is a mom of 10. She has 2 sets of twins as well, and they are just such a fun family. I love following her stuff. She's also on Instagram. She has her own podcast, but this book is so good, just giving really good perspective on motherhood and some practical tips. She is a Christian and her faith is evident in everything that she says in this book, and again, also on her other platforms. So that's another one. This is one that I love. It really is not a parenting book, but I love it because it is about homemaking, and to me that's a very big part of motherhood. So Holy Hygge, that's how that's pronounced. For the longest time I thought it was pronounced Hygge because I had no idea. Is Hygge. It is a Danish word, and this says it has no English equivalent. So I'm reading the back of the book here. It is a funny Danish word with no English equivalent, but it ties to comfort, consolation, and really finding meaning in the mundane, which I absolutely love that. Again, such an important principle, especially if you're a stay-at-home mom, but this is just such a fun read. Again, a pretty easy, swift read. I love it's got some, call-out boxes and stuff like that. I so enjoyed this. The tagline for this book, creating a place for people to gather and the gospel to grow. And that is what I want my home to be, and I'm sure you probably do too. So check this one out. This one's pretty short, so if you're looking for something pretty quick, check that one out. Okay, next, Mama Bear Apologetics. This one is, I know it says mama, but this is good for dads too. Okay, Mama Bear Apologetics. This is written by several different people. I actually love it. So Hillary Morgan Ferrer is the general editor, but she brought together people who are experts in their different fields. So she covers a lot of different topics in here, from gender ideology all the way even to Marxism. She talks about postmodernism, like all of these different things that our children are going to face in the world today that's all around us. Whether we like it or not, the world that we are living in is different than the world that we grew up in, even just 10, 15 years ago. So this helps to prepare you for tackling those questions with your children, but also just by setting them up in a home where they learn the truth, they know the truth, so that they can combat the lies. It's not just about pointing the finger at all the things wrong with the lies. It's also knowing the truth so that we can stand up against those lies. So obviously we know that at the end of the day, the gospel, knowing God, it is a relationship. It is a heart matter, but this also gives you some good practical tools as well for those hard conversations. So I'm excited to keep this one on the shelf. Obviously, my kids are not really asking me about Marxism yet. So this is a lot of stuff that I'm just kind of keeping in the back of my mind, and I want to keep this on my shelf for if those hard questions come up one day. And again, just so we can know the things that we're going to face, so we can teach the truth in advance so they're prepared to go out into the world. All right, next one. I love this one. You can see I've got paper in it because I've got notes. And I actually did this one as a Bible study with some friends from church. We meet on Wednesdays every couple of weeks, and we went through this book together. But I had already read it by myself first. And I will say, just the style that the book is in, I think that it is really good to do as a solo read. Even if you do it as a Bible study, go through it yourself, read it like a book. Don't necessarily read it like a Bible study, because that's not it's not a true Bible study per se, but it's really, really neat. So you can see he's got this circle here, and these are actually all the different topics that he covers in the book. So you've got everything from bedtime, marriage, to meal times and leisure time, like all these different things. It's just so neat. I have marked this book up. He's got some neat charts in here, and this one absolutely is for moms and dads. This is written by a man, a father. He talks about fatherhood in this book, and it is just about building habits that allow us to get in rhythm with God as a family. So he likens habits to liturgies, and if you don't know what a liturgy is, it's essentially something that you repeat, that's repetitive, that allows you to get into a spirit of worship. And so what he's saying is that in our daily habits, we can create essentially a space where we can then worship God. We are setting ourselves up for success in our relationship with God by the habits we set. And again, habits of the household, we're also setting our children up for success in those habits that we're setting. So definitely check this one out. This is Justin Whitmel, Earley, I think that's how you say it, but just really, really wonderful book. Again, great for moms and dads. And also, little side note, he has summaries at the end of the chapters. Definitely check this out. Again, this is one that I'm keeping on my shelf for a long time to come, because I know I can go to the ends of the chapters and really, really quick get the bullet points of what he covered more in depth in the chapter. He's got a main idea, he's got some bullet points, and he has additional resources, which I always love that when authors do that. Okay, 2 more for this stack, and then, like I said, more recommendations to come. Okay, Wild and Free Family by Ainsley. I should know that. I have a cousin named Ainsley. Ainsley Arment. This book was so good. Forging your own path to a life full of wonder, adventure, and connection. So I know that Ainsley has another book called The Call of the Wild and Free. Apparently, I have a habit of reading second books first, because I did that with Hard Is Not the Same Thing as Bad. I'm also going to be reading The Call of the Wild and Free this year. She is a homeschooler, and that really is the initial intent of The Call of the Wild and Free, is more of a homeschool focus. The Wild and Free Family is not focused on homeschooling. She is talking about how as a family, it says it's time to find your way back to where you belong, back to the purpose of family being knit together. And this has nothing to do with schooling. She, of course, references her own family's lifestyle. They are homeschoolers in this book, but really she's talking about finding your mission as a family and connecting with your family and setting your family up for success. She's got some really great quotes in here. She's talking about just having a sense of wonder, creating a safe haven in your home, all of these different wonderful, wonderful topics that we've got in here, going on adventures together, the gift of adventure, unleashing your children's gifts. It is just absolutely wonderful, unlocking their potential, just these really powerful topics that she covers in here. I love this book. Another one I will be coming back to. And again, like I said, I will be checking out The Call of the Wild and Free we're going to start homeschooling this year. So I am eating up all the homeschool material I can, but I also love the content that is out there that is for families in general. It is not just all homeschool stuff. So check this one out. Last, but most certainly not least, this one is incredible. Raising Boys to Men. This is by Durenda Wilson. I also follow some of her other stuff. She's just an incredible mom, an incredible woman of God, and it is so neat to learn from her. So she already has grandchildren now. So that is another reason I love learning from her. Some of these other authors are actually in a pretty similar stage to life as me, or just like slightly ahead, maybe 5 or 10 years ahead. Durenda, it to me, when somebody shares what they learn, like, she doesn't have to be sharing all of this stuff with us, but she is taking it upon herself to share her wisdom. And this, again, not a long book, so much good stuff in here. I find myself thinking back to stuff in this book. I talk about this with my sister. I talk about this with my friends. It is so good. For moms especially, I don't even almost have a clue what is going on in my son's mind and my husband's mind. And this actually gave me some neat insight into really valuing who God created boys and men to be. And it says, we are in a battle for the hearts of our boys. That is just right here in the introduction. Boys are boys. They are not girls. They're wired differently. And that is truly a glorious thing. So this whole book really is set up to help us moms to understand, and even if we don't understand, to pour into and call out who it is that God made our sons to be. So I absolutely love this book. Highly recommend. Staying on my shelf as well. I know I said that probably with most of these books, but this is another one I'm coming back to again and again. And some of my books I know are going to be either an annual read or like every couple of years. This is one of them. This is one that I want to read cover to cover, probably every year. Again, it's short, so I can do it. And no surprise, I underlined and highlighted a bunch, like all throughout the book. So definitely recommend that. I hope this is helpful for you guys. Again, I'm going to be doing this some more, but I love reading. One of the things, the problem is that these days there's not even just, oh, there's so many secular books out there, which of course there are, but there's so many resources. We live in a world full of resources, which I think is such a good gift. However, it can be overwhelming and it can be hard to choose. It can be hard to know what books are worth picking up and not. And so then sometimes we end up not reading anything at all because there's just too many choices. So I hope that this helps. These are all excellent. I know that was a lot, but pick something kind of based on how I explain the book that lines up with where you are and maybe what you want to know. Check those out. Gift them to your friends. These are all absolutely wonderful. That is a wrap on our cozy day vlog here. Thank you guys so much for watching, for coming along. I hope you guys enjoy those book recommendations. I will put all of the links in the description of the video below, so be sure to check those out. And I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time here on Honestly Rebecca.